Coach, thank you for taking time to join us as we kind of start the preseason, and you've had about a week's worth of camp, maybe about 10 days. Your overall impressions and how things have gone thus far?
We got here last Sunday, so we've been at, like you said, a little bit over a week. Really impressed with this group, not just from an athletic standpoint. They've been a really good group to work with, just from a citizen standpoint of view. A lot of good young men here on camp. At camp, guys are on time. They're doing everything with 100% effort. And as a coach, that's really all you can ask.
The addition this year of 5 new teams into the conference now gives you a conference schedule. How does this affect your team this season and the years moving forward?
It's what we've always wanted here, is a conference to call our own, and a chance for the football program to be with the other sports programs who are actually competing in the same conference. So it's just this is just a big thing for our football program. To finally have the GMAC to call home and have some common opponents, build some rivalries, and it's certainly great for our young men.
Good to hear. What is the biggest improvement, or what can you see is going to be the biggest improvement this year?
Well, I think we're going to be much better up front on both sides of the football. Last year we had some really good skill players, and we had some younger guys up front. This year it's kind of flipped. We've got our numbers are up with linemen. So with numbers, you create competition. With competition, you create success. So up front, that's where the goal was through recruiting, is to get up, and we need to get as many offensive, defensive linemen in here as we can. And it is showing in practice, because the upperclassmen are staying a little more fresh. It's not just 7 or 8 guys out there eating up all the reps. Guys are competing. And they understand that they're competing for a spot, that they could easily lose a job this year if they don't show up ready to go in practice. So that's been the biggest thing we've noticed as a coaching staff, is the competition up front is much better than it has in the past. And then we certainly got big shoes to fill with we did graduate Keelan Cole and Travion Tucker and those guys. That's a really powerful receiving core that we had last year. But I think we've got some guys who are ready to take the helm.
Speaking of some of those guys, in terms of earning a spot last season, Mike McGee kind of settled in as your starting quarterback. What have you seen in his makeup this season?
Having the ability to have played Mike those last 4 games of the season last year after DeMarcus got the injury really paid off now. He's now kind of assuming the old vet responsibility. He's a very heady young man. He's long. He's got good range. He's got a strong arm. He's 6'5". He's a little over 200 pounds. So he's everything you want out of a quarterback. I wish he could run a little bit faster, but he's got some athleticism. He's just the leader, and everybody looks up to him that way. And just having him get those snaps under his belt last 4 games of the season last year are huge, especially against teams like Ashland. He put on a really good performance as a quarter. We got beat pretty soundly that game, but one bright spot coming out of that Ashland game last year was Mike McGee.
Are you looking for a different target for him to throw at, since his primary target's playing with Jacksonville right now?
The Jaguars, yeah. We've got some good ones. Jared Beard transferred in here from Austin Peay. I believe he led the OVC last year in receiving at Austin Peay, and he's with us now for his final year. And Derek Barnes was a kid that we redshirted last year who transferred here via Georgetown College. Really athletic receiver. We've got some guys back like Alex Gray and Avery Haynes who were role receivers last year under Keelan and Travion and those guys. They're ready to step up, I think, and become more of a force in our offense. So I like where we're at with receiver right now. The biggest thing, like I said earlier, is just with our fronts, getting those young guys as much experience as we can, and being able to protect Mike and stop the run.
I mean, obviously, you young players are going to take dirt lumps early, and you hope they learn real quick and move forward. Defensively, what's the strong suit of your defense this year? Where can you lean on?
Well, like I said earlier in the interview, being able to have some more quality depth up front on the defensive side. And then defensively, we're going to be led by very strong young man, Mike Malone. He's right in the middle of our defense, playing linebacker. He's not very big in stature, but boy, is he's a ball player. He plays with a high motor. He gets after it, and high football IQ. And proud to say that he's in the core of our defense. And we are we've got a lot of experience back in the secondary, just not overly deep at that spot. So as coaches, we're concerned we got to stay healthy in our secondary. If we do that, then we give ourselves a real good fighting chance to be competitive.
Coach, I appreciate your time.
Hey, thank
Good luck
you.
this season.
Yep.